Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're plunging into some ancient wisdom.
Right.
We're exploring excerpts from VAGGA VI. It's a foundational Buddhist text.
Right. It's this collection of short, quite profound accounts. They often end with an utterance from the Buddha himself.
And our mission today really is to pull out these timeless nuggets of knowledge. We're talking about human perception, what truth even means, and maybe some surprising paths to liberation.
Yeah. And uncover some really fascinating stories and analogies along the way.
Absolutely.
And these sources, they offer unique perspectives, how we discern reality, the traps of getting stuck in our views, the journey towards, well, genuine understanding.
We'll even touch on moments of pretty profound decision-making.
And cosmic consequence, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Things that really resonate.
Okay, let's dive right in then. Part 1 starts with a pretty dramatic account.
Mm-hmm.
The Buddha, he's residing in Vesali at the Mahavanas Kugarasala. Nice place. And he mentions several beautiful shrines, satyas, around Vesali, Udāna, Gotama, Satamba.
Bahuputta, Surandada, and Kapala.
Right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is where it gets really interesting. The Buddha makes this powerful statement.
To Ānanda, his attendant.
Right. He says someone who's cultivated the 4 bases of psychic power. These are, deep meditative skills.
Yeah, extraordinary abilities.
They can choose to live for an eon, a kapa, the text says, or at least until the end of one.
An entire age.
And he hints at this 3 times to Ānanda, basically saying, hey, I can do this.
Yeah, the implication is crystal clear. But what's amazing, and kind of tragic, is Ānanda's reaction. Or rather, his lack of one.
What happens?
The text says he was parinibbāna. His mind was obscured, clouded over.
Obscured. By what?
Specifically by Māra, the tempter. This mental fog stopped him from grasping the hint. Stopped him from asking the Buddha to stay for the benefit of everyone.
Wow. So he just missed it. Because his mind wasn't clear.
Exactly. Really makes you think, doesn't it? How often do we miss crucial insights when our own minds are clouded by, distractions or biases? That's a heavy thought. What kind of Māra do you think we face today? Maybe just information overload.
Could be. Or strong emotions, fixed ideas, just, the usual mental chatter. We get stuck looking through our lens instead of at what's being offered.
Right.
And the story gets even more dramatic. Māra himself shows up, directly appears to the Buddha.
The tempter in person.
Yeah. Urging him to attain parinibbāna, to pass away now. Māra argues, look, everything's set up. Monks, nuns, lay followers, they all know the Dharma. They can teach it.
So Māra's basically saying, your job's done, time to go.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But the Buddha's response is incredibly calm.
What does he say?
He just tells Māra, don't worry about it. I'll attain parinibbāna in 3 months.
Just like that? 3 months?
Just like that. And the consequence of this decision, this conscious choice, is immediate and cosmic.
Okay, what happens?
At that very Kapala Setya, the Buddha consciously relinquishes his lifespan. He lets go. And bam! A Mahabhumikalo, a great earthquake. Terrifying, hair-raising, the text says.
Yeah.
And Devadundu Hioka Falisu, celestial drums burst.
An earthquake and celestial drums. That's huge. Like, the universe itself is reacting.
It signifies a monumental event.
So what's the Udāna, the inspired utterance that goes with that?
It's beautiful and profound. Having let go of the conditioned existence, equal and unequal, the sage, delighted within, well-concentrated, has shattered the armor of self-existence.
Shattered the armor of self-existence.
Yeah, it's about the power of conscious letting go. True liberation, even power, comes from relinquishing attachment even to life itself.
Okay.
It's about transcending that idea of me and mine.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot to take in. From this huge cosmic decision, let's pivot a bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about the art of discernment. How appearances can be deceiving. We shift scenes now to Savatthi at Pubarama. King Pasenadi of Kosala is visiting the Buddha.
Right, another encounter.
And the king sees this group pass by, 7 kinds of ascetics, Jatilas, Nigmanthas, Atsilas. Quite a mix. They look really unkempt, carrying baskets and stuff.
Not exactly the picture of enlightenment, maybe.
You'd think. But the king, surprisingly, prostrates to them 3 times and announces, I am King Pasenadi of Kosala.
Which is unexpected.
Totally. And then he immediately turns to the Buddha and asks, are any of these guys arahants or on the path? He wants a spiritual assessment.
Almost testing the Buddha, perhaps.
Seems like it. And the Buddha's response is, well, very insightful. He basically says, look, it's difficult for a householder like you.
Someone enjoying sensual pleasures.
Exactly. Using fine sandalwood, wearing garlands, enjoying gold and silver. It's hard for someone like that to truly discern high spiritual attainment.
It implies you need a certain clarity, maybe detachment yourself to see it in others.
Right. And then the Buddha gives these amazing guidelines for figuring people out. Not just monks, but anyone.
Yeah, these are super practical. He says, virtue, Sila. You only know it by living together for a long time, paying attention, not carelessly, and you have to be wise yourself.
Takes time and wisdom.
Same for purity, Sosaya. You see it in how people deal with others, their interactions. Again, long time, attention, wisdom.
Okay, what else?
Fortitude or strength, Tamo. That reveals itself in adversity. Same conditions. Long time, attention, wisdom.
Makes sense. You see true strength when things get tough.
And finally, wisdom itself, Manya. How do you know if someone's wise? By conversation. Talking with them over a long time, paying close attention, and again, being wise yourself. It's not about quick judgments.
It really emphasizes deep observation over surface impressions. But then comes the twist.
Yes, the king's confession.
He spills the beans. These weren't random ascetics at all. They were his spies. Okaraka, the text calls them. They'd just come back from a mission.
Spies disguised as ascetics.
Yeah. He says after their work, they clean up, put on fine clothes, and enjoy all those sensual pleasures he was just talking about.
So the king was totally testing the Buddha, seeing if he could see past the disguise.
Exactly. It's a brilliant little story.
It really is. And the Udāna that follows is quite pointed.
What does it say?
One should not strive everywhere, nor be another's person or live depending on another, nor engage in trade with the Dhamma.
Nor engage in trade with the Dhamma. That sounds important. What do you think that means for us, like when we share knowledge or ideas? Does it mean we shouldn't charge for teaching or?
Well, it's likely deeper than just money. It's about integrity, isn't it? Not using spiritual knowledge or any deep truth for personal gain, manipulation, or just transactionally.
So keeping it pure, sharing authentically.
Exactly. Maintaining your own autonomy and integrity. Not making the Dhamma or truth just another commodity.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's shift again from discerning individuals to a bigger problem, the danger of partial truth.
Classic theme.
We're back in Savatthi at Jaccandha, and there's this scene with lots of ascetics from different sects, all arguing fiercely.
Right, the philosophical battles?
They're debating the big questions. Is the world eternal? Is it finite? Are life and body the same thing? Does the Buddha exist after death or not, or both, or neither? All those classic unanswerables.
And they're not just debating politely.
No way.
Yeah.
The text says they're bantanajata kalahajata vivadapana, quarreling, disputing, and anyamanyanya mukasatihi vitudanta, literally piercing each other with verbal spears.
Ouch. Intellectual combat.
Totally. And what's the Buddha's take on all this?
His diagnosis is blunt. He calls them anta akakuka, blind and eyeless.
Blind. Why?
Because they don't grasp what's actually beneficial or harmful. They don't know the real Dhamma from non-Dhamma. They're lost in their own limited viewpoints.
Which leads perfectly into probably the most famous parable in this whole collection.
The blind men and the elephant, yes.
So the Buddha tells this story. A king brings all the blind men in Savatthi together, and he has them touch different parts of an elephant. One touches the head, says, it's like a pot.
Another feels the ear. No, it's like a winnowing basket.
Someone grabs the tusk, it's a plowshare. The trunk, a plow pole.
The body's like a granary. A leg is like a pillar.
The back's a mortar, the tail's a pestle, or a broom, depending if it's the short or long bit.
Right, each one experiences just one part.
And what happens next? Predictably.
Chaos. They start arguing, shouting, convince their little pieces the whole elephant. They even start hitting each other.
All while the king is apparently finding this quite amusing.
And the Buddha says, see? That's just like these arguing ascetics.
They grab one piece of the truth, one perspective.
And cling to it for dear life. Absolutely convinced it's the whole truth. Which inevitably leads to conflict, dogmatism in action.
It's such a powerful illustration of how limited our own perspectives can be. We mistake our little window for the whole landscape.
Precisely. And the Udāna nails it. Indeed, some ascetics and Brahmins cling to these views, disputing and quarreling for people see only one aspect.
Just one aspect.
And there's another related account that adds more depth. Other ascetics argue about whether the self and world are eternal or not, or if suffering is self-caused or caused by others.
Same kind of fixed views.
Exactly. And the Udāna there is maybe even more pointed. Indeed, some ascetics and Brahmins cling to these views, and they sink in between, not having reached that deep.
Sink in between. What a phrase. Like they're stuck in the mud of their own arguments.
Yeah, they can't get beyond the surface level, the partial view to reach the deeper understanding. They're trapped by the argument itself.
And there's yet another related Udāna that digs even deeper into why we do this.
Right. This one connects it to the ego.
It says, this generation is prone to ego, allegory, connected with the idea of other-made. Some do not understand this. They do not see it as a dart.
A dark, like a painful illusion.
Exactly. But for one who sees this dart in advance, there is no I make or another makes. This generation, entangled by pride, bound by pride, rooted in views, does not transcend samsara.
Wow. So unpack that. What's it saying?
It's linking our ego, that sense of I am, and our pride, mana.
Our attachment to being right, maybe. Our sense of self.
Directly to holding these fixed views.
Yeah.
We cling to them because they prop up our sense of self. And if we don't see this ego clinging, this dart, we stay stuck.
Stuck in samsara, the cycle of suffering and rebirth. We can't get free because we're tangled up in our own pride and limited views.
Seeing the dart is the first step to getting beyond I make this happen or someone else makes it happen. It points towards interdependence.
That really ties the intellectual debates back to personal liberation, or the lack of it. Okay, so we've seen the perils and partial views. Let's pivot to the actual path.
Right. Paths and perils. From deep practice to, well, destructive attachments. We find the Buddha in Jaccandha reflecting on his own journey.
Thinking about all the unwholesome stuff he abandoned and the wholesome qualities he perfected.
And the Udāna from this reflection is quite cryptic, but profound.
It was before, then it was not. It was not before, then it was. It was not, nor will it be, nor does it exist now.
What do you make of that? It sounds like everything is in flux.
Exactly. It really points to impermanence, maybe even emptiness or non-self. The idea that states, mental qualities, even existence itself aren't fixed. They arise, they cease. Nothing is permanent or exists independently. Constant change.
That's a deep thought. Now, contrast that internal reflection with a scene of deep practice. We see Ven, Subhuti meditating nearby.
Yes, sitting cross-legged, back straight, in undeflected concentration, avitaka samadhi, perfectly still and focused.
And the Udāna describing this state is amazing. It paints a picture of total freedom.
It does. One whose thoughts, vitaka, are utterly dispersed, well-conceived internally, completely. Such a one, having overcome attachment, formless in perception, having transcended the four bonds, never returns.
So, thoughts dispersed, overcoming attachment, transcending the four bonds. What are those bonds again?
Sensuality, the desire for becoming or existence, clinging to views, and ignorance. Overcoming those means full liberation, no return to samsara. It's a state beyond the arguments, beyond the ego.
A state of profound peace. But the text doesn't shy away from the opposite extreme, does it?
Not at all. It immediately pivots to the raw, destructive power of attachment. We're in Rajagaha now.
And what's happening?
A street brawl, basically.
Yeah.
Two groups are fighting fiercely over a courtesan.
Seriously?
Yes. Attacking each other with hands, dirt clods, sticks, even weapons. People are getting killed or badly hurt, all over attachment.
It's a brutal, real-world example of clinging gone wrong.
And the Buddha uses this to illustrate two philosophical extremes he calls kasifatana, literally tomb builders or increasers of suffering.
Okay, what are these two suffering-increasing extremes?
Extreme one is clinging rigidly to virtue, rules, ascetic practices is the only important thing. Believing that silabhata jivitai brahmacarya mupatanasara, these practices are the absolute essence. It's a kind of spiritual rigidity.
Okay, extreme rule following. What's the other?
The exact opposite. Believing there's no fault in sensual pleasures, nati kamesu dosoti, complete indulgence, thinking there's no harm in it. Hedonism, basically.
So extreme asceticism versus extreme indulgence. Both build tombs.
That's the idea. The Buddha says, if you don't understand these extremes, you swing towards one or the other. You either cling rigidly or you let go completely inappropriately.
But if you do understand them,
then you can find the middle path and transcend the whole cycle. It's fascinating because it shows that even clinging to virtue can be a trap if it becomes a rigid, unexamined view.
true freedom isn't in the extremes.
Right. And we get one more powerful analogy for this kind of self-destructive clinging.
Which is?
The Buddha's sitting outside in the dark. Oil lamps are burning. And he sees lots of moths, adipataka, flung straight into the flames.
Oh, the classic moths to a flame.
Exactly. And the Udāna captures it perfectly. They rush forward, they do not come to the essence, they multiply new bonds, they fall like moths into a lamp, for some are fixed, viewed on what is seen and heard.
Fixed on what is seen and heard, so trapped by immediate appearances, by sensory input.
Precisely. They're drawn to the light, the superficial attraction, without understanding the danger. They cling to that immediate perception, and it destroys them. A perfect metaphor for clinging to fleeting sense experiences or partial truths without deeper wisdom.
That's incredibly vivid. Okay, as we bring this deep dive towards its conclusion, let's look at the final illumination, true awakening.
Right, the culmination.
Ānanda makes an interesting observation in Jaccandha. He notes that, other teachers, other ascetics, they get honored, they receive support.
But only up to a point.
Right. Only as long as a rightly self-awakened Buddha hasn't appeared. Once a Buddha arises, all that reverence shifts to the Buddha and the Sangha, the community.
It's like their light fades in comparison. And the Buddha confirms this with a really beautiful analogy.
What is it?
He says, that glowworm, kini, shines so long as the sun, papakaro, has not risen. When the radiant one, Virokanami, has risen, its light is extinguished, nor does it shine.
The glowworm and the sun. That's powerful.
Isn't it? It shows that other teachings might offer some light, some partial insight.
Like the glowworm in the darkness.
But they're completely overshadowed by the full radiant illumination of a Buddha's awakening. It's a whole different level of clarity.
They just can't compare to the sun.
Exactly. And the final Udāna hammers this home, emphasizing the unique power of the Buddha's path.
Let's hear it.
Thus, indeed, do other sectarians shine, as long as rightly self-awakened ones have not appeared in the world. Sophists, Takika, are not purified, nor are their disciples. Those of wrong views are not freed from suffering.
So it's saying that ultimately these other paths, these sophists, and those with wrong views,
While maybe having some temporary shine.
they don't lead to true purification or freedom from suffering. Only the Buddha's path offers that complete liberation.
That's the clear message. It highlights the unique efficacy, the unparalleled clarity found in the Buddha's teaching.
Wow. What an incredible journey through VAGGA VI. We've covered so much ground.
We really have. From, the Buddha's choice about his own lifespan and the earthquake.
Yeah. To the tricky business of discerning character beyond appearances with the king's spies.
The dangers of partial truths, vividly shown by the blind man and the elephant.
And the destructive nature of clinging, whether it's to views, desires, or even rigid virtue like the moths to the flame.
It's all about the challenges of human understanding, really. How easily we get tripped up.
These ancient stories, they're not just quaint parables, are they? They feel incredibly relevant. The blind men, the moths. It's about how we perceive truth today.
Absolutely. The need to look beyond the surface, to question our own certainty, is timeless.
So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for someone listening?
Well, maybe consider this provocative thought. We live in a world drowning in information, conflicting opinions, echo chambers. It's easy to become like those blind men, fiercely defending our little piece of the elephant.
Or like the moths, drawn to the brightest, loudest thing without seeing the danger.
Exactly. So the question for you, listening, is, how might you apply this ancient discerning wisdom? How can you cultivate that open-mindedness, that deeper insight the Buddha talks about?
How can you avoid the trap of partial truths and seek out that full illuminating light of understanding, like the sun, not just the glowworm?
That's the challenge and the invitation from these texts, something to really mull over.